What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Live Show. We're here looking at the 6-game Monday main slate. Had some day baseball action, which included the first ever time in MLB history that a player played for both teams in the same game. How did that happen? Well, the Red Sox and Blue Jays restarted their previously delayed game from a few months back where Danny Jansen was at bat at the time of the delay, and then it came back in that game as the catcher for the Red Sox. A little MLB history here made today. Maybe we'll make some history here tonight, James. Maybe we'll have someone, maybe you, maybe me, maybe one of our lucky followers here taking down the big DraftKings contest here today. How do you feel about
that? Feels good.
I agree. What are your overall thoughts on today's slate, my buddy? We got 6 games here. Pitching-wise, not too many high-priced plays. Bailey Ober's 92, Bryce Miller's 89, Fried, Pepio, Berrios, your 8K and up starters.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate.
We lost Pivetta, by the way.
We did lose Pivetta. The Sox are going with Zach Kelly as their opener.
Mm-hmm.
And Cooper Criswell is expected to be the long man. So we'll see how that plays out. But, yeah, I think Ober is very interesting. Michael Harris out of the lineup with an injury for Atlanta. And that lineup is already kind of, very feast or famine. Very high strikeout rate for Atlanta. Now Whit Merrifield leading off. I really like Bailey Ober as the day has gone on. So I'm perfectly fine getting there 92. Bryce Miller with an elite matchup. His splits, usually you get guys with splits like ERA and limiting power and he has a 28% strikeout rate compared to an 18% strikeout rate on the road. He does not allow home runs at home. He allows a lot of them on the road. It is as drastic as it gets for a pitcher. Well over a strikeout per inning at home. So love Bryce Miller, 8,900 against the 6th highest strikeout team against right-handed pitching. I'm good with Max Fried. Minnesota has obviously been a little worse against lefties. It is some worrisome when you look at their lineup today, Minnesota. They obviously have the lefty variety lineup today. Margot leading off, Royce Lewis second. We talked about Royce Lewis at home last night. Miranda hitting third, who's been notoriously good against lefties. Santana, Farmer, Castro, Vasquez. So their first 7 batters are all righties, and that's not something the Twins were doing earlier in the year. They were.
They're staggering. Well, they had a lot more healthy lefties in their lineup at that time too, so that kind of helped a bit. Yeah, obviously Fried last start better than he had since coming off the IL. I still like Pepio here a lot at $8,200. Again, the price tag certainly coming up on him a little bit, but certainly deserves to be in this 8K range. And when we talked this morning, we liked stacking just the pitchers in this game. Both offenses struggle. We know Seattle struggles at home. Tampa Bay struggles against righties in general. So I'm happy to continue just kind of going back. It's a small slate, so your options are certainly limited here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a contrarian way to do it. I've kind of fallen away from that because I like Ober, and I just prefer to pitch 2 guys that can get a win. But I do think that there is merit to playing both Miller and Pepio. And I think, when you're really good for 7 consecutive starts. And I think the most important thing about the second outing out of the break, the 90 pitches, his outs prop is set at 15.5 today, which isn't great, but it does feel better when you see his pitches at 90 that they can build on that and possibly get him into, because especially if you're playing FanDuel or something, you don't want to just use Ryan Pepio or use a pitcher that's not going to at least come close to getting you a quality start or hasn't. So I like where he's been at pre-injury, post-injury in terms of missing bats, in terms of length of games. So yeah, I think Pepio at 8,200 makes a lot of sense. On the Berrios front, we didn't really talk about him last night. We other than talking about how good he's been lately.
Yeah.
He has some of the most severe home road splits I've seen this year in the worst possible fashion, considering where he is pitching tonight. He is pitching in Fenway against a team that is loaded up with lefties. And you look at the numbers. I mean, he's allowing over 2 home runs per 9 innings to both righties and lefties on the road this year. I mean, just so many home runs. I mean, 27 home runs is a lot to begin with. That's over 1 per start this year for him. 19 home runs allowed in 13 road starts, and now has to pitch in Fenway. You look at like some of the numbers for Boston, their implied run total opened at 5.3. It's up to 5.6 runs. I am so far out on Jose Berrios and so far in on the Boston Red Sox tonight. And that not that I was like ever not in on the Red Sox, but like I was like teetering with the idea. Maybe I get contrarian with Barry. No, not even in consideration.
Yeah, for sure. Again, we know the Red Sox offense, the way they run at it here. Especially this year at home, they're healthier now. They have some of their main bats back. This is also a lineup that has some success. Your guy, Jaron Duran, 360 with a 1,300 OPS career-wise off Jose Berrios. They've seen some Berrios being in the division there, so some BVP numbers aren't as scarce as some of the other BVP numbers we've looked at with guys in the past year. So don't mind that as well. When you get past, though, sort of the Pepio realm, we talked a little Davis Martin last night going up against the Tigers, some of his, better numbers of late. We also talked the 4K pitcher in Ty Madden. Is there a value starter on this slate that you find yourself looking to play today?
I mean, better numbers, sure, but they're largely masked by luck. So I'm not necessarily you can if you want. I mean, I do think that there's merit to playing White Sox in general.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Detroit's offense has been in a pretty good rhythm, and they're very lefty heavy now that, they've basically called upon the youth movement in drones. I mean, everyone other than Torque is hitting from the left side, or him and Veerling are the only ones on the left side. So not a lot of interest in Davis Martin personally. I don't have a lot of interest really anywhere, truthfully, outside of like Ty Madden, and he's $4,000. That's quite literally the only reason why. I don't have much interest after Ryan Pepio.
I agree with you. Going on over to the catcher spot here. Thoughts on spending up? I mean, again, 4,400, not necessarily going d'Arnaud against Ober, but would you go Stallings, $4,300, just get in the Coors Field bump here? Like, where are we going on a small slate with catcher today?
Sure. He has power, so you can play Stallings. Red Sox just released their lineup. Connor Wong is behind the plate, so $4,000 against Connor. If you want to play him against Berrios, that's fine. Ivan Herrera, I think, is a little bit interesting. Hitting fifth. He got recalled yesterday, and now is hitting fifth with Wilson Contreras out. So, I don't hate that. I know Vasquez has been bad against lefties, but he's hitting fifth, and he's $3,500
every time we've had to play him. So
I'm good with Herrera. You can obviously play Alejandro Kirk. He's $3,300. I don't think we've gotten Blue Jays Game 2 lineup, or I guess technically Game 1 lineup, because that game was June 26th. And then Marlins who's the Marlins? I just saw the Marlins lineup. Marlins are catching Fortes. I mean, he's $3,100 in.
He's not a very good hitter. So.
But he has a Coors Field backing.
Yeah. Not for me. I got nothing else really down here. I think I'm just kind of playing in this mid-tier range.
Yep.
Personally. Yep. Same for you?
Yeah.
First base. We go. Got a top play for us over here?
Jake Berger.
It's easy. It's done like that. Coors Field, 5,600. Ryan Feltner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really have too much to argue. I mean, obviously there's Vladdy if you want to spend all the way up, or Costas at 5K, but obviously the Coors Field boost there makes a lot of sense. Cronenworth for Gibson's 45. You got Jonah Bride at 43 as well. Horowitz there at 41. We talked some Detroit. We also talked some White Sox last night, though. Ty Madden is 9 ERA, 8 ERA at AAA this year over 18 starts.
Yeah, and a lot of home runs against righties.
A lot of home runs against righties. Giving us Andrew Vaughn here, 297 batting average of late. Power on the year we know has been there. So if you want to plug in some White Sox today, it would certainly be your time to shine. Any other first baseman for you?
Mike Toglia, shout out in tournaments.
Totally a shutout. I like that. Listen, a lot of power. Young kid. First round pick. Could have it come through here. Friends don't let friends play DFS tennis. I don't think I've ever played DFS tennis before. I don't know if you have either, James, but not that I've ever done. Second base. Are we still just sticking course here? Do you like Brendan Rodgers against Cabrera? Like, where's your go-to second? You know you're a big Connor Norby guy.
Yeah, it's Norby, 3,700 leading off again, home runs in back-to-back days. Hits in 7 straight, a bunch of runs scored with the people hitting behind him, just constantly driving runs in. So, not really differentiating from that spot. I do, if you do want to stack Marlins and you want to play Norby at third, Otto Lopez is hitting 5th tonight. He's been pretty good of late as well. A bunch of hits and a lot. I mean, if you look at his August numbers, they're very good. So if you want to play Otto Lopez 3,800, he'll be more contrarian than Norby, or you just play them both. Cole Keith 3,600 righty lefty split. He's been awesome lately. You're not trusting Bailey Ober. Whit Merrifield's leading off. He's also been pretty good since arriving in Atlanta, even though he's wearing a Philly hat. And
costs money to get new photos. So.
Costs money to get new photos, and then Kyle Farmer hitting 5th for what that's worth. Will Wagner. I don't think we've gotten a Blue Jays lineup. I assume with the Cooper Criswell expectation, I assume Will Wagner will be in the lineup, but we'll see.
Agreed. Toglia in tiers. Didn't you win the only time you ever played a tiers contest, James?
Yeah, I did. I think it was NBA. I did. It was fun.
Only ever time James is 1 for 1 in tier state.
Pretty good ratio. Yeah, pretty good ratio.
Retiring on top. Third base. Again, Devers is up there. Vladdy, Berger. You can want to play him at first. You can play him at third. You mentioned Royce Lewis. Numbers at home versus lefties have been pretty strong as well. Anything changing for you? Any highlights at third base for you?
Yeah, Devers. I mean, I'm all in on the Red Sox today. If you can get the Red Sox with all these home runs allowed by Berrios away from Toronto, then I want Boston. So Devers 5,800 makes a lot of sense. Talk Vladdy, Berger, Royce at home, all those plays, all elite. This is definitely a good position to spend up on. You can also play Clement, play Connor Norby, play Caminero. All those guys also makes it. Jace Jung at 25 probably will be in the middle of the lineup again.
Yeah, a lot of good values here. Again, it's a weird small slate because there aren't our usual spend ups, really on this slate. So you're kind of spending your money or you're leaving some money on the table here today. Shortstop up at the top again. No Xavier Edwards. He was your top price guy. Also, there's no Tovar, who is the other shortstop we were looking to spend up for. At this position, so spend down. I mean, Mason Wynn or Willie Castro, both of them are fine plays here, but shortstop there's nothing exciting here.
No, there's nothing exciting. I've talked to you about the Rafaela splits before.
Yeah.
He has been just significantly better against righties this year. I'm willing to go there. Just with how bad Berrios has been on the road and his price and the proper split. If you are targeting anyone against Bailey Ober, Orlando Arcia only hits righties this year, only hit lefties last year, only hitting righties this year. McKinstry is a little bit interesting given how good he's been, and it's largely been due to just getting on and running and then scoring, and that's been his production. I mean, 4 stolen bases his last 5, double-digit fantasy points and 5 of 6, $2,700. And I saw you flash the Trey Sweeney play onto the screen. I mean, look, this is another former top prospect. I'm assuming we get him in the lineup. Only thing I'd say, and it's happened a couple times recently, AJ Hinch is just a madman with these matchup. This is like San Francisco of the last few years where everything's a matchup and everything is pinch hit for. So just keep that in mind if you play any of these like bottom lineup tier like players, because if a lefty comes in, Andy Ibanez is going to pinch hit for Trey Sweeney,
Right.
or insert your right-handed bat in the Detroit line.
Agreed. Outfield, again, a spot where you generally spend up for. You got a $6,000 Renton Doyle. Like, if you're there's not many spots to spend up on the slate as it is, so you're probably leadoff hitter in cores. You're probably jamming him in here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's him or Jaron Duran, who hit his 7th home run today, but he has 18 home runs on the year.
Yeah, right. Restarted games. Weird stats, right?
Yep. Chad Green got his 3rd save. He has 15, and George Springer hit his 7th. He has 17 home runs.
Yeah.
So still waiting for that Jaron Duran home run to update on ESPN. I'll be talking to the league.
Are you? How many home runs are you behind now?
I need 1 home run to tie in the category, so that would be useful.
Useful, yeah.
Tie for 10th. Jaron Duran, I think, is right up there with Doyle as like the 2 top clear-cut spends for me at this
position. Another just auto plug right now, Jackson Merrill.
Yeah, and this is the worst split for Gibson too. So love Jackson Merrill. Again, we talk about this like I wish he wasn't hitting 6th. It's fine. It hasn't impacted him at all, but I wish he was hitting not 6th. But yeah, I mean, Jackson Merrill, 4,700 in the worst split for Kyle Gibson.
Right. I mean, this dude is just crazy good. I think honestly all Toronto's in play here too. Cooper Criswell, kind of is flamed out a little bit. Got sent back down, dealt with COVID, he said, and he lost a bunch of weight with COVID. He was having a hard time, walking for long distances, right? Like some people still get hit hard by that. So now obviously he's recovered, he's been pitching, but you still have to wonder what kind of toll that takes on you. We did have a pod in here talking about some of the Cardinals against Vasquez, get the lefties. Got Alec Burleson there at 46. If you want to go there, we got some Detroit outfielders in here, more Boston lefties with Weiler and Yoshida. So plenty of guys in this mid 4K range.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say on the Criswell front and like Toronto is his ground ball rate is insane. He has like a 55% ground ball rate and doesn't allow like a lot of power. So that's the only thing I'd say. Also, we didn't mention Corey Lee at catcher. He's hitting 6th tonight. We just got the White Sox lineup, so that's another punt catcher if you want to go there. Yeah, I mean the Boston guys are very interesting. Abreu hitting 2nd, Yoshida hitting 6th, O'Neill hitting 5th. O'Neill obviously being the most expensive of the trio, but Yoshida 45 I'd play. Weiler probably the best one. Another just weird situation where they're just pinch hitting him, and that's kind of crappy because
when you have Robert F. Snyder as well hitting as well as he does, right? Like
I know, but Weiler is just always the target. And it's so annoying. Like Yoshida is not ever taken out for like lefties.
Too much money
always
to Yoshida,
It's always Weiler.
Plus Yoshi's usually the DH too, so you're pinch hitting Weiler to get the defense swap too.
Fair. So like I like the Abreu price of all 3 the best. Carpenter 44 is great against Davis Martin. I'm telling you, I sent it in a chat with you and Mark Pitts, who does the DFS content here, fantasyalarm.com on Saturdays. Luis Robert has some of the best home run odds of the day.
Yeah.
And we talked about it with Ty Madden. 12 home runs and like almost 1,000 OPS in the minor league level against righties. In less at-bats than it is against lefties, where he's allowed 18 home runs total. Like, Luis Robert is as live as anybody to homer today. And the main slate, because Aaron Judge exists in the world, and obviously he's not on the same tier as that. But on the main slate, Luis Robert is as live as anybody else.
Plus 240, you said, right?
Plus 240 to homer, which not like a regular number, right? Like plus 240 to homer is not like your traditional pretty good odds. Like those are very good odds. So I really, really, really like Luis Robert. Just put out the lineup. He's hitting 2nd.
Seeing as we are a sports writer, I feel obligated to say that the Tennessee Titans have just traded Malik Willis to the Green Bay Packers. So for you dynasty fantasy football players out there, you're holding on to any Malik Willis shares. He's now a member of Green Bay. Moving on down the line here for tonight's MLB DFS slate. The cover of our preview show is Jesus Sanchez. 4K, a lot of power. Everybody else seemingly got a Coors Field bump. He only did slightly. $500 to 4K is not as much as anybody else. So homer the other day, I'm willing to ride this for sure. I guess the problem we have here is that we actually like a lot of these 4K outfielders today.
Yes.
Does he make the cut for you?
Oh, yeah. 4K hitting third in Coors against Feltner's worst split for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
I agree. Value outfielders for you?
I do think it is at least interesting. I just want to shout out that Luke Raley is leading off.
Sure.
Not that he is like I do find that a little bit interesting. $3,800 leading off has been really good lately. But Lars Nootbaar hitting fourth stands out really, really. I mean, like we Burleson at is outfield only 4,600. We talked Donovan last night. You mentioned Nootbaar. I don't think either of us figured he'd be hitting fourth.
Did not expect him to hit cleanup today.
So that's obviously a massive boost considering what Randy Vasquez has been specifically against left-handed pitching. I mean, he has been a zero, right? It's been an absolute zero. I don't know. He's been in the minors because he couldn't get lefties out, I'm sure. Like, it's not his strikeout rate is like single digits. His walk rate is higher than his strikeout rate. Power, lefties are hitting almost 400 against them. So, Nootbaar at 3,500 might be as good a value as anyone else, considering the matchup he has and that he moved up to fourth.
We mentioned Stowers, another guy on Miami's in the lineup tonight. Stowers.
Yep, him and Bruhan. Bruhan hitting eighth, Stowers hitting sixth. Bruhan $3,500, Stowers $3,300, both in the lineup.
Margot leading off is 32. Victor Scott, we had to mention, he's hitting ninth, $2,200.
Yep.
A little pop, but nothing
speed,
crazy.
And some speed. I mean, a couple stolen bases his last few days too. Like, it's not like a very it's an one. Tigers lineup: Meadows, Carpenter, Vierling, Keith, Jung, Torkelson, McKinstry, Sweeney, Dingler. So like lefty, righty, lefty. I mean, just right off the bat, a lot of lefties.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get a lineup going here. I'm in on, just spending up on Bailey Ober here today. Yep. Just sort of given the lack of top tier spend ups, right? Like, So you go over Miller or over Pepio here?
Let's do. I think Miller probably has the higher ceiling.
Okay.
Pepio would probably be the lower owned of the two.
Let's go Miller, and if we don't have the money to get the guys we want, we can pop down a little bit here. How's that sound? I think we settled in on Herrera, right? 3,500.
Well, we also have the Corey Lee 2,400.
Okay, I'm good with
lineup.
That. Yeah, Corey Lee works. I like Corey Lee. Where is he at? 24. 24 versus Madden, definitely in there. We talked obviously the 4K range. Sanchez, Robert.
Yep.
Is Duran or Doyle your spend up here?
Duran.
Okay. Let's get in Devers.
Norby at second.
Norby.
I don't know if we'll be able to afford.
Running out of money.
I mean, Trey Sweeney is in the lineup. He's very cheap, $2,400.
$3,500.
Is that White Sox Vaughn? He's 37.
Yeah, so we go down
to Pepio.
There you go. $500 left over. Ober, Pepio, Lee, Vaughn, Norby, Devers, Sweeney, Sanchez, Robert, and Duran. Got a little two-man Miami play there with the leadoff hitter in the number 3. We got our White Sox. We got our Red Sox in our lineup here tonight with Ober and Pepio up at the top here. Appreciate you all tuning in today's show. We'll be back tomorrow, obviously. Big day of MLB on tap. So we'll be back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Check out the playbook by Henry Wilson. That is live on site as well. Get us in the Discord. Find us over on the X Machine, and we will catch you all later.